My Lord, the Chief Justice, Honorable Cabinet members, Honorable members of the National Assembly, Lord Mayor of Banjul, religious leaders, service chiefs, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the media, fellow Gambians, ladies and gentlemen. All praise is due to God, the Lord of all, for granting us the blessing and favor of gathering here today to witness the State of the Nation address in the 2018 legislative year, which I have the singular privilege of executing on behalf of the entire Gambian nation. In accordance with the legal obligation, I owe this august assembly as President of the Republic of the Gambia. This afternoon, my address will focus on 5 main areas. These are the major government achievements registered during the 2017 legislative year, policy and legislative matters linked to the mandate of this august assembly, national unity, socio-economic development plans, and matters requiring executive action. Honorable members of the Assembly are at liberty to pursue any details of interest to them through the select committees or during normal sittings. Before proceeding, however, on behalf of all Gambians, I take special delight in congratulating all those who were elected during the electoral cycle of our beloved nation. We ended recently with the municipal and local council elections. In particular, I congratulate most heartily the Lord Mayoress of Banjul, the Lord Mayor of Kanifi Municipal Council, and the chairpersons of the various regional councils. Similarly, to all the councillors and officials who have been elected, nominated, or appointed to serve in any of the ranks of government, I say hearty congratulations. I pray that we have a very successful and peaceful tenure of office, marked by fulfillment of the aspirations and expectations of the electorate, regardless of any form of diversity that may exist. Together with the remaining arms of authority and all other sections of society, we now have a fully constituted government machinery to move this nation forward in a manner that befits a sovereign democratic nation of free and dignified people. Therefore, I urge all of us, including all non-state actors, to work together amicably, sincerely, and purposefully in the interest of the nation and humanity at large. Madam Speaker, the 2017 legislative year, which is under review, has been positively eventful, with my government registering resounding success in its overall objective of implementing the National Development Plan 2018-2021. The highlights of these events are reflected in February 2018 for immediate implementation. Both instruments are designed to provide a more focused approach in implementing trade and industrial development programs to reinforce investment in the productive sectors and promote exports. In the area of investment promotion, government is in the process of amending the GAIPA Act 2015 to maximize public engagement and benefits in key priority sectors. This is part of the efforts to widen the scope of domestic taxes and reduce over-reliance on trade taxes. Following the implementation of the ECOWAS Common External Tariff in January 2017, government has now harmonized the Gambian tariff with the ECOWAS tariff. As a result, we will continue to collaborate with ECOWAS member states to promote the free movement of goods and persons. Implementation of the €11 million Youth Empowerment Project from the European Trust Fund is ongoing. The overall objective of this 4-year project is to tackle the economic root causes of irregular migration through increased job opportunities and income prospects for the youth. The project has trained over 1,000 youngsters in various skills within 1 year. This is complemented by the $14 million Skills for Youth Employment Fund launched this year, which aim to equip another 1,000 Gambian youths with relevant technical and vocational skills in partnership with local training institutions. Also worth reporting is our partnership with the International Labour Organization and the government of Japan to support the establishment of a $3.9 million project on employment creation for youth to build sustainable peace in the Gambia. The goal of this project is to promote employment opportunities for the youth through infrastructure construction, together with skills training and entrepreneurship support. Particular focus is put on women, returnees, the diaspora, and refugees. The project is expected to employ 2,500 young people in infrastructure construction works and within the agriculture, fisheries, and tourism sectors. Additionally, 250,000 youths are expected to complete skills training and receive entrepreneurship support in relation to the construction sector. At least 30% of the project beneficiaries would be women. These are crucial interventions to reduce unemployment, which will be mentioned later. Information and communication infrastructure. Madam Speaker, the government of the Gambia, through the Ministry of Information and Communication Infrastructure, is working on the national broadband network. In this regard, Gamtel has secured a $25 million concessional loan from the People's Republic of China to address the last mile access, including rural access. The national broadband network seeks to supplement the Africa Coastal Europe ACE and the ECOWAS Wide Area Network ECOVAN in addressing the national infrastructure challenges. Members of this August Assembly will be pleased to learn that government has put in place sufficient safeguards to affirmatively address the revenue leakage at our national and international gateway. A new measurement system will be installed to accurately document, monitor, and digitally store all call traffics in and out of the Gambia. Among other things, this system is expected to include revenue assurance, anti-fraud management, IMEI management, quality of service, and mobile money monitoring. I am happy to report further that with the liberalization of television broadcasting. 4 TV licenses have been issued to QTV, Paradise TV, Star TV, ATM, respectively. Other applications are currently under review. In addition to these developments, a task force has completed the review of the media laws, and Cabinet will review its recommendations. All these are part of the processes for freedom of expression to thrive in the country. Education. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education tabled the revised Basic and Secondary Education Bill 2017 that was approved by Cabinet for enactment. These acts provide for the management and development of educational services in the Gambia and shall govern the operations of all schools from preschool to the secondary level, including non-formal schools. In its drive to provide quality and relevant education and training, to strengthen the human capital stock of the Gambia, the higher education subsector has set a policy target to train 65% of all graduates in the areas of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, agriculture, health, and other related sciences. To respond more effectively to the human resource development needs of the country, plans are afoot to transform the Gambia Technical Training Institute into a University of Technology and Engineering, and the Management Development Institute into a University of Management and Public Administration. Ultimately, the constituent schools of the Gambia College will also fuse into the University of the Gambia. In this regard, the acts of these institutions are currently under review. The relevant bills will be tabled before this August Assembly for ratification. The University of the Gambia Faraba Banda Campus project is in progress, and government looks forward to its successful completion to accommodate all relevant university activities. Meanwhile, a good number of scholarships are offered in-country and in noble universities of various friendly countries. The impact of this is beginning to be evident. Energy and petroleum, Madam Speaker. On the petroleum subsector, major international oil companies have expressed interest in exploring and commercializing our hydrocarbon potential. The licensing of offshore blocks of A2 and A5 are required in order to drill an exploration well before end of 2018. In spite of this, the regulatory instruments of the Petroleum Product Act 2016 has been validated and sent to the Ministry of Justice for finalization. These tools will utilize and standardize the downstream sectors as source of revenue. On energy, it is common knowledge that my government inherited a malfunctioning utility with dilapidated infrastructure. Therefore, to address this in the short term, government has approved a 2-year emergency power supply agreement between Car Power and NAWEC for a 30 megawatt generation capacity. NAWEC is also implementing a number of projects, which includes operations of a new 11 megawatt power plant at Kotu Power Station, funded by Badia and IFIT, and estimated at $22.32 million US. The replacement of a 9 megawatt generator at the Brikama Power Station through funding from the World Bank is ongoing. Also underway is an additional 24 million 20 megawatt project in Brikama, funded by the Islamic Development Bank. The implementation and construction works are expected to end by the first quarter of 2019. In partnership with the World Bank and the European Union, government plans to implement a project entailing installation of solar panels for all our schools and health facilities, as well as upgrading and rehabilitation of the existing dilapidated infrastructure. The second phase of the successful partnership with Senelec of Senegal, reported before, will interconnect the Karang-Amdalai border to supply power to Bara and its catchment areas. Finally, a project has begun to replace existing exhaust pipes, drilling of new borehole, and expansion of the water network to underserved areas. Retailing and use of plastic bags in the Gambia is in place. Key among its effects is the drastic reduction in volumes of generated and accumulated waste. The National Environmental Agency is currently reviewing and updating the National Implementation Plan linked to the Stockholm Convention and Chemical and Pesticide Management Act 1994. The new bill will incorporate emerging environmental issues that were not anticipated in the Act. It is encouraging that the country concluded a $2 million agreement from Global Environment Facility to assist in redressing some of our waste issues. To address unplanned developments and uncontrolled exploitation of the coastal and marine resources, there is need for an integrated coastal zone management system involving all stakeholders. As a result, it is urgent to pass Integrated Coastal Zone Management Bill 2015 into law. Follow-ups will be done on this. Waste management and disposal continues to be a menace, but it is hoped that the newly elected local government officials, especially for Banjul and KMC, will give this issue special attention. Transport, works, and infrastructure. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Transport, Works and Infrastructure has successfully updated the National Transport Policy 2018-2027 and formulated a National Public Buildings and Facilities Policy 2018-2027. The two policies are set for presentation to Cabinet and the National Assembly for approval and ratification, respectively. On road infrastructure, it is to state that works will commence shortly on the 48.3-kilometer Basse-Fatoto-Koina Road project, which includes the 150-meter-long Fatoto-Pasamas Bridge, as well as the 200-meter-long Basse-Wulli Bridge. This intervention is long overdue in view of its importance and deserves high priority. As updates, the Sitting Corner Access Road, the Sotuma-Sere Gambisara Road project, as well as the reconstruction of the Wellingara-Sinchu Road, the Nusrat High School Road, and Mastajata Road are complete and in full use. Government now intends to construct 400 kilometers of rural roads using pro-based technology. This involves 104 kilometers of feeder roads over a 3-year period at a cost of €10,346,747. A concept note for the construction and upgrading of over 500 kilometers of urban roads has been prepared recently, with the objective of reducing traffic congestion and increasing mobility at low cost. The much talked about Trans-Gambia Bridge, the Laminkoto-Pasamas Road, and the Sukuta-Jambanjeli project are all progressing satisfactorily. The design for the extended phase of the airport improvement project, which is exclusively funded by the Saudi Fund, has begun. The entire project is scheduled for completion in 12 months. On a related development, the civil aviation system has completed a comprehensive universal safety oversight audit program by International Civil Aviation Organization in 2018. The Civil Aviation Bill tabled before the National Assembly has been enacted. Basically, it seeks to meet new and emerging standards and recommended practices tied to global civil aviation safety and security measures. Justice. Madam Speaker, in line with the promise to the Gambian people, in accordance with the National Development Plan 2018-2021, the government continues to make steady progress in building a solid foundation for good governance, the rule of law, respect for human rights, and transitional justice program. Constitutional Review Commission. Following the enactment of the Constitutional Review Commission Act in December 2017, the Constitutional Review Commission was appointed and charged with the responsibility to draft a new constitution. The commissioners have commenced work in earnest with the appointment of the Executive Secretary and a Secretariat. Establishment of the Truth, Reconciliation, Reparation Commission, TRRC. Following the enactment of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC Act in December 2017, the setting up of the TRRC is at an advanced stage. The 11 potential commissioners representing all regions and interest groups have been identified and their names published for any objection from members of the public. The preparations are well underway for the launching of the Commission in October 2018. National Human Rights Commission. For the first time in our history, a National Human Rights Commission Act was also enacted in 2017 in line with the Paris Principles for the establishment of Independent Human Rights Commission. The appointment of 5 commissioners is well underway through a selection panel which has been constituted in accordance with the Act to facilitate the selection process. We expect to have the Commission fully constituted before the end of 2018. With the establishment of the Commission, ordinary Gambians will have an alternative and affordable avenue to provide redress for human rights violations in the country. Anti-Corruption Commission. In line with the aspiration to foster good governance and combat corruption, a draft anti-corruption bill has been finalized and ready to be submitted to the Cabinet for final review and approval. This will seek to establish an anti-corruption commission and provide effective measures for the eradication, suppression, and prevention of corruption and corrupt practices in both private and public life in the Gambia. We expect to table the bill before this August body by the end of 2018. Criminal justice and media law reforms. In a bid to sanitize our criminal justice system and to ensure a conducive environment for the media, a comprehensive reform program has been initiated to review and update the criminal law legislation and to repeal the draconian media laws of this country in line with international best practices. Compliance with international treaty body reporting obligation. As part of its obligation under the international treaty bodies to which it is a party, the Gambia is expected to file periodic reports on the state of implementation of these treaties. Unfortunately, in the past 2 decades, the Gambia has failed to fulfill its reporting obligations, leading to a backlog of state reports to regional and international treaty bodies. In order to clear the backlog, a multi-stakeholder task force has been set up by the Ministry of Justice, comprising of government and civil society organizations, to coordinate, prepare, and submit reports on the implementation of treaties. Consequently, in July 2018, the Gambia appeared before the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights in fulfillment of its reporting obligation for the first report in 33 years. In the same vein, in November 2018, the Gambia is scheduled to submit its combined report on the African Charter on Human and People's Rights to the African Commission for the first time since 1994. Fisheries and water resources. Madam Speaker, I am confident that members of this August Assembly will be pleased to learn that through support from the Saudi Development Fund, a 25 solar-powered pipe water supply system will be constructed and installed this year in 25 communities to serve 70,000 people in rural communities. In collaboration with UNICEF also, my government will continue to provide safe drinking water and basic sanitary facilities for 34 lower basic schools and health centers across the country. Meanwhile, discussions are at an advanced stage between the government of the Gambia and Japan for the construction and installation of 25 solar-powered pipe water supply system that will serve 80,000 rural dwellers. Furthermore, it is hoped that with support of the African Development Bank Group, we will install 144 solar-powered pipe water supply system to serve 220,000 persons in the rural area. Given the hardship encountered in some rural communities, these projects should bring welcome relief to all those affected. Aside from these plans, 2 bills will be tabled during the course of the year: a bill for an up-to-date and comprehensive Water Act, and an order to establish a new National Water Resource Management Authority. These 2 bills explicitly indicate government's conviction to safeguard, protect, and manage water resources. Finally, for this sector, the government will present for consideration a bill to establish the Gambia Meteorological Authority as an independent public enterprise governed by a board for the provision of meteorological services. Madam Speaker, the fisheries sector remains a source of revenue for us. Those activities within the sector attract much attention. With support from the Food and Agriculture Organization, my government has secured a technical cooperation program on aquaculture for women and youth. It is currently being implemented with a total budget of $442,000, focusing on 3 key areas. These are: establishment of 4 hatcheries at strategic locations in the country. The capacity per hatchery will range between 800,000 and 1 million fry or small fish annually. Establishment of 3 feed mills plants at strategic locations in the country. The capacity per mill will be about 500 kilograms per day to produce different types of feeds for different categories of fish. Capacity development for the production of quality seeds and feeds. Particular preference will be given to youth and women associations. On further legislative works, government is in progress of effecting amendments to the Fisheries Regulation 2008, include the upward revision of fishing license by 50%, observation of closed seasons, and enforcement of marine protected areas. Since the commencement of industrial fishing operation in June 2017 to date, total revenue of over $57 million has been generated by the government through licensing fees, 10% fish landings, and fines from arrested vessels. During the same period, a total of 883 Gambians gained employment as fisheries observers and deck hands. At the bilateral level, the Gambia and the Republic of Senegal are implementing a cooperation agreement in the field of fisheries and aquaculture development. I would like to reassure Gambians that the agreement will be reorganized and given new mandates for more effective preventive and counter operation. To promote transparency and meritocracy, an independent police council will be set up, and efforts to attract, recruit with skills and competencies will be intensified to maintain a force of personnel with integrity and substantial potential. To ascertain justice and fair play, government intends to establish an independent police complaints commission, preferably to be presided over by an experienced former judge of the courts, to ensure that the fundamental human rights of residents of the country are respected. These reforms will extend to the prisons department, where the design for the construction of a new modern prison is near completion. Noting the involvement of our vulnerable youths in crime, a new legal framework will be developed for the detention and management of juveniles in custody. As migration is a source of much concern and grief, my government has formulated a new migration policy to reinforce the Immigration Act, especially as regards cross-border movement. Health and social welfare. Madam Speaker, there is an ongoing expansion of our healthcare services with the overall objective of attaining universal health coverage. To this end, the World Bank have agreed to support the country to develop a health financing strategy plan for the establishment of a functional and reliable healthcare system. Despite all the challenges we inherited, significant gains have been registered in the health sector in the areas of malaria elimination, immunization, reproductive, maternal, neonatal, child, and adolescent health. In fact, total skills delivery now stand at 82% in the country. To augment these achievements, the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare is working closely with the West African College of Surgeons and Physicians to start postgraduate programs for young doctors in the country. This will offer us an opportunity to have specialists in various areas so as to reduce the burden on overseas treatment and provide quality health care for everyone in the Gambia. On medical supplies, the government has successfully negotiated a grant with the Global Fund to fight malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV and AIDS, as well as to support the general strengthening of the entire healthcare system. This will boost the system and prevent shortages of health commodities, especially medicines. Youth and sports. Madam Speaker, the youth make up the largest proportion of the Gambian population. 36.7% of 1.8 million Gambian population are aged 13 to 30 years, yet youth unemployment has risen to 38%. I made reference to this earlier, and it is cause for concern for all of us. You will agree with me that my government inherited extremely wide-ranging socio-economic challenges. These include acute frustration and lack of opportunities for the youth. The result is that thousands of youth undertake risky journeys, often with tragic consequences, in search of greener pastures elsewhere. To address these challenges, the Ministry of Youth and Sports is focusing on three key activities: a terminal evaluation and formulation of the fourth National Youth Policy, evaluation of the National Sport Policy to inform the formulation of the Youth and Sports Strategic Plan, and a mid-term review of the Strategic Plan 2015-2019. Through interministerial collaboration and coordination, especially with the Ministry of Trade and Education subsector, various educational training and entrepreneurial opportunities will continue to be open for the youth. Public and private sector partnership will also be strategically strengthened for this purpose. Tourism and culture, Madam Speaker. The year 2017-2018 marked an increase in the number of tourist arrivals in the Gambia. In all, arrivals for 2018 are projected at over 200,000, representing a moderate growth of 30%. This in contrast to the sharp reduction in the previous year, which resulted from the past political crisis. Encouraged by these positive developments, government targets to increase and facilitate tourism arrivals to 350,000 tourists by 2021 through product diversification, offerings, and reaching out to new markets. It is projected that close to $1 billion will be invested in the tourism sector within the next 3 years, to be matched by creation of at least 4,000 jobs. All this investment seeks to enable a year-round tourism. The Movenpick Gambia promoters have renewed their commitment to construct a 5-star hotel valued at $55 million US. Linked to this, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture has revised the guidelines for classification and reclassification of hotels in conformity with international standards to ensure higher level service delivery. In the area of culture, UNESCO has provided financial support for the National Council for Arts and Culture to review and update the country's 1986 cultural policy. This policy will be operational in the current year, 2018, to guide activities in this sector. To protect intellectual property, government will ensure that an effective copyright procedure exists through a functioning office. To complement this, an operational collecting society will be established for collection and distribution of royalties to creators and artists. Agriculture, Madam Speaker. My government recognizes agriculture as the backbone of the Gambian economy. In fact, our survival as human beings depends to a large extent on agricultural activities and produce. In view of this, the agricultural sector continues to feature prominently in our national agenda, and it is encouraging that it is on the path for revitalization to contribute realistically to national development. In broad terms, the sector's key achievements involve production of agricultural and natural resources, construction of water retention facilities, and enhancing tidal access and feeder roads. The agriculture sector has also been active in market infrastructure development, diversification, and commercialization to boost national food and nutrition security. In partnership with the World Food Programme, FASTEP has been implementing the school feeding program to benefit 87 targeted schools with a total of 22,924 people in the West Coast and Lower River regions. Also, 30 schools now have half-hectare vegetable gardens each. On regulatory frameworks, the seed quality control and marketing regulations and a seed quality control and certification manual have been developed. The National Seed Policy, which was in operation since 2008, has now been updated to match with the ECOWAS harmonized seed regulation. Because of the crucial role played by our farmers, both male and female, government will continue to support them to the extent that our capacity allows. Such support will be in the form of inputs, facilitating access to market outlets and technical advice from competent personnel. Of special interest of my government are the women that are engaged in various agricultural activities. We will continue to support and encourage them not only to contribute their quota to national development, but also to improve their social and economic condition. Government will continue to request the Ministry of Agriculture to scale up such support to help substantially in diversifying and maximizing production, making use of existing technology, and adding real value to whatever they do or produce. Finally, we look forward to a very good farming season with expected improvements on the last season. Nonetheless, in the view of the much lamented effects of climate change, we cannot depend wholly and solely on the rains for agricultural activities. The solution to the current challenges lies in exploring all options available to undertake all year-round farming activities. The government is working with the French on the feasibility of such projects in the Upper River region. Therefore, I call upon all farmers and government officials to think and work along these lines. Lands and regional government. Madam Speaker, for the information of this august body, the Gambia is among countries participating in the participatory slum upgrading program and has qualified for the implementation stage. This program was launched at the last World Urban Forum held in Malaysia. The emergence of estate agencies in the past years has significantly accelerated the use of land mainly for residential purpose in the greater Banjul area. As a result, it has significantly challenged how land is used for development at the expense of other uses. To address this, the government is working with estate agencies to regulate the industry. Very importantly, sites have been identified for the creation of residential, institutional, and industrial layouts. Those residential layouts have been earmarked for Makumbaya, Jambur, and Brikam, and an institutional layout mapped out in Kamalo and Old Joshua. In addition, both Kamalo and Old Joshua will accommodate an industrial layout. Government has now reviewed and amended Section 13(2) of the Local Government Act 2002 in order to provide for direct election of chairperson of council through universal adult suffrage. Relatedly, all executive powers vested on the President to remove elected officials of council have been revoked, and plans are underway for a general review and amendment of the Local Government Act 2002 in order to align it with present-day realities. To pursue government's decentralization agenda, plans are in the pipeline to review and update the existing Gambian national policy on decentralization and local development 2015-2024, together with its implementation strategy. Women's Affairs. Madam Speaker, the National Nutrition Policy 2010-2020 has been reviewed and a revised policy for 2018-2025 validated. Accordingly, development of a new strategic plan for 2018-2025 with a common resolve framework is in progress to accompany the implementation process. The $21.18 million maternal and child nutrition and health resolve project is progressing significantly in 37 health facilities within the 4 regions of country to serve 345 communities. It is being implemented jointly by the National Nutrition Agency and the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. In the area of education, the former Population Family Life Education has been revised by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and replaced by the Comprehensive Sexuality Education Curriculum. This curriculum captures details on sexual and reproductive health issues for delivery to school children in order to increase their understanding of family, health, and physical well-being. Other achievements within the sector, including drafting of regulations on fats and oils packing and labeling of food and feed, the groundnut, sesame, and cashew regulation towards aflatoxin mitigation, and amendments to the Food Safety and Quality Act 2011. Importantly, too, the Food Safety and Quality Authority has also created an internal crisis response plan to respond better to possible food safety crisis. Madam Speaker, my government is committed not only to the promotion of gender equity and women empowerment, but also resolve that such commitment translates into concrete action and positive results. In consequence, the National Gender and Women Empowerment Policy 2010-2020 has been revised and updated in line with the new orientation of democracy and respect for human rights. Additionally, the existing legal frameworks will be revised and tabled in order to enact a more comprehensive legislation on female genital mutilation and child marriage. Finance and Economic Affairs, Madam Speaker. With the support of the international community, the Gambia macroeconomic situation has improved remarkably since the inception of my government. We have seen strong tourism activities and a continued recovery within the agriculture sector. Quite heartily, the economy started showing signs of recovery in 2017 from the economic growth of 2.2% to 3.5%. Our fiscal position continues to improve owing to the tight expenditure limits, fiscal consolidation and reforms. Net domestic borrowing has been dramatically reduced from more than 10% of GDP to well below 1%, leading to the desired decline in interest rates, with average Treasury bills rates dropping from 17.5% in October 2016 to 5.5% most recently. International reserves have increased from 1.6% from 1.6 months of import cover at end 2016 to 2.9 months at end 2017. Finalized in December 2017, the National Development Plan 2018-2021 guides our development endeavor. Its overall goal is the delivery of good governance and accountability, social cohesion, national reconciliation, and a revitalized and transformed economy. Pegged to this goal, government strategies remain stabilizing the economy, stimulating growth, and transforming the economy for sustainable, inclusive growth and poverty reduction. On income generation, the government has strengthened tax collection, and for the first time, the Gambia Revenue Authority collected over 800 million in a single month. That is in January of this year. The staff audit of the civil and uniform services identified and removed from the payroll over 3,000 ghost workers, resulting in annual savings of 0.3% of GDP. A new policy has been instituted restricting overseas travel to economic class for some senior government officials. This is expected to deliver additional savings of 0.1% of GDP. Madam Speaker, previously, diverted fees and revenue sources have been channeled back to the budget. These include fees from the International Voice Gateway, mining and use of container scanner in the ports, with expected annual revenue of 1.2% of GDP in 2017-2018. On structural reforms, my government has established a floor on direct poverty-related expenditure to be at least 1.3 billion annually. This excludes all indirect expenditures towards poverty alleviation. There was a zero central bank financing of fiscal deficit in 2017. This poses a favorable environment for the conduct and implementation of sound monetary policy. To realize the greater degree of autonomy needed for the conduct of the monetary policy, the Central Bank Act will be amended appropriately. This is in the final stage and will be submitted to the National Assembly for review. Quite significantly, with the help of our development partners, most notably with EU, the Gambia recently mobilized 1.7 billion donor support at the Brussels International Donor Conference held in March this year in the form of grants and highly concessional loans. Foreign affairs, international cooperation, and Gambians abroad. Madam Speaker, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation, and Gambians abroad, government continues to work towards safeguarding the interests of the Gambian people, and to ensure that we regain our rightful position in the community of nations. In this pursuit, we have resumed diplomatic relations with countries around the world after 2 decades of isolation. Many friends and partners are now coming back to work with us. The Gambia is once again a fully fledged member of the Commonwealth of Nations, following its withdrawal by the former president in 2013. As a member of the Commonwealth, the country can now tap into the support and technical expertise the Commonwealth offers to its membership. Earlier in March 2018, the Gambia hosted the 4th Presidential Council meeting with the government of Senegal, attended by over 100 experts from the 2 countries, including ministers and 2 heads of state. The event provided an opportunity to review the current status of implementation, aside from establishing new bilateral relations in various sectors. Significantly, plans are underway to host the 14th Organization for Islamic Conference, OIC, Summit in 2019. This is the 4th of its kind in the history of the Gambia. With 57 member states, the OIC is the 2nd largest international organization after the United Nations. Obviously, this is an important development for all Gambians. Bilateral relations with the People's Republic of China have been strengthened. It is not surprising, therefore, that China is now assisting in various sectors, ranging from infrastructure development to agriculture and health interventions. It is pleasing to state, for example, that in August 2017, the government of the People's Republic of China waived a $12 million loan to the Gambia, following the signing of a debt relief protocol in China by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs. Further to this, the 2 countries have signed an agreement for the construction of an international conference center. The proposed center is meant to host the forthcoming OIC summit. Construction work is in progress. Government, through the Foreign Affairs, also signed an agreement with the Kingdom of Morocco to construct a new Foreign Affairs edifice. The construction works have been subcontracted to a Chinese company, and the government of the People's Republic of China has made a pledge to furnish the entire outfit upon completion later this year. Madam Speaker, during the year under review, my government broadened its diplomatic mission around the world. We reopened embassies in Qatar and Dubai, while the new embassies have been opened in Switzerland and Algeria. In fact, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has started the process for the return of the Gambia to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. These come on the heels of the country's withdrawal from the body in 2016 by the previous administration. Last but not the least, the signing and ratification of mutual visa exemption with the Russian Federation and the People's Republic of China will improve our level of engagement with them. Above all, our relations with such bodies as the EU, the World Bank, and the IMF are going exceptionally well. Conclusion, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, honorable members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that government has made significant achievements and progress over the past year. It is evident too that working together, a lot more can be achieved. And there is nothing to suggest that we cannot realize any of our development goals and objectives. The responsibility rests on us collectively. Therefore, let us step up the momentum to do better as each moment passes. The Fraba Banta saga makes it imperative for me to re-echo the call for restraint, unity, civility in our action and living as law-abiding citizens. As Muslims and Christians, guided by the strict spiritual values we preach and live by, we cannot trample on one another's rights, not to mention vandalizing property or taking innocent lives illegally. Our common cultural values of loving one another, sharing and providing support to family and neighbors are enough to stop us from harboring any form of anger or hostility towards any human being. Indeed, there could have been a national uprising or a civil war during the notorious 22 repressive years of dictatorship. But we live in peace until the situation changes through peaceful means. This has bewildered the world. Therefore, let us not change for the worse. Let us not change for the worse. Ethnic differences, inter-community disputes, and differences over worldly gains should be issues of the past. Whatever land or wealth is accumulated leads to nothing but the grave. In consequence, nothing should matter more to us than how well we live, what good we do in this world, and what legacy we leave behind. As always, I call upon all Gambians to unite, work together, and develop the country as one people, one nation. This is not about party politics. It is about national pride and about national identity, as it is about our future, our destiny, our children, and the generation that will come after us. I commend every citizen and friends of the Gambia, especially our development partners, for standing by us through thick and thin. My government appreciates all of you together. With your efforts, sacrifices, sense of responsibility, and contribution to peace and to our development and well-being. I pray that the Almighty Allah continues to bless us, guide us to everlasting success, and grant us peace and tranquility at all times. Madam Speaker, honorable members of the National Assembly, I thank you all for your deliberations and achievements during the past year, especially for all the legislative instruments you enacted collectively. I congratulate you and entreat you to continue to work together in the best interest of the nation. While wishing all of you success and fruitful sittings in the year ahead, it is my singular honor and pleasure to officially declare the 2018 legislative year open. I thank you all for your attention.
Banko President Adama Barrow ay waledi na député Bumba Nyinto abeba dendin lungola mi yalon ko comme nga fo nyamen wala kere kerta membe dendin député bungoto sango kono hana be kala signa kilinde pro president o sinano nem president o ala diamol kono kalimo mi yalon ko wala keda nin ko mu generator to drong wala ay metandi wala nyende ko pour ka sabar ñoye ka ñomuta ka ke kilingoti ka teben camion sabati da maltema ko ko natara yirwalem abe soto nola nin wala kono moliye fatam fanso bondi nin siel la karola fatam fanso le bondi mol la kunkili